Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Fireside Podcast Gamer Stories from Long Island Gaming Link. Today we do have a special guest. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I am Derek Boyd. I am the analyst for Shopify Rebellion's Dota team. I've been in the competitive esports scene for about 6 years now, give or take, depending on what you count as competitive esports. And I've been playing Dota for a very long time. Uh, I was semi-competitive before that in StarCraft as well as Age of Empires. Yeah, I'm happy to share what I know about breaking into the esports scene, kind of my story, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, since you told me you'll be joining us today uh, in a virtual fire, I was looking forward to talk to you because I know you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom specifically about esports and Dota. But first, let me ask you, how did your gaming or esports journey started, and when exactly, if you remember?
Uh, I've always been a super competitive guy. Like I grew up being competitive at sports, was big into basketball when I was younger. Um, when I started was in university, it's cold as hell up here in Canada, and during the winters I started playing. We ran a Age of Empires tournament out of our dorms in the University of Alberta here in Canada, and I would win the little in-houses we would play, and I got a feel for the taste of competition. I've always been like competitive with my brother when I was younger, as well as some of my friend group, and then StarCraft 2 came out. Started playing StarCraft 2, climbed the leaderboards, eventually got good enough to hit Masters and even Grandmasters for one season.
Okay.
And I was like, damn, maybe I can do this for real. And so I started joining teams, entering myself into competitions, and just seeing how far I would get. That was back in like 2010 to 2012 days. Um, at the time, esports was not like what it is right now. Esports was very, very, very new, and there was almost no money in it.
Yeah.
It was not something you could ever it was not a possible career path. It's not like it is today, where there's a lot more support, there's a lot more growth. Everything was just fly by the seat of your pants and see how you
Yeah.
go. And even though I didn't do that much, like the most I ever won in StarCraft was I think $20 in a pizza party,
Still
like
counts.
just
Still
free
counts.
pizza. So it was I was okay, but I was not anywhere close to the best in the world or anything like that. And uh, and then friend of mine said, "Hey, have you heard about this game called Dota?" And I transitioned to Dota. Slowly but surely, I played it and got more and more involved and engaged, and I really found a passion for the game, and I love the strategic depth and how much you could do with it, especially if you thought about things. There's ways you can like mentally break the game, and so I just full committed and full sent it into Dota, and that was back in 2012, late 2012 when I first started, and now I'm 27,000 hours into Dota, uh, and I work for a competitive esports team. Sorry,
Yeah. Well, you do
I do,
work for
yeah.
yeah. So, um, how did you or what made you become not a player? Or what does it take to become a player? Or is it something, um, is there a person that is very good and he knows he can become a pro, but he decides, hey, I'll become a coach instead or analyst? How does I'm just curious, how does that happen?
Well, the road to becoming an analyst kind of started. I didn't. I'm like it's really hard to think of yourself as good because I'm a very, very, very critical person, and the person I'm most critical about is myself. I always see mistakes in my gameplay, and I look to strive to fix them. A friend of mine invited me to join a couple of teams back in 2018, 2019 for WESG, WSG, and various national tournaments where we essentially submit a team for Team Canada.
As a
And we
player?
would, as a player, yeah.
Okay.
And during those tournaments, I didn't think of myself as that good,
Mm.
but I would coach and I would captain the teams. And in one case, we qualified. We beat all the other teams in Canada for WSG and WESG. I think we came in third. The teams that were ahead of us were have three current TI winners as well, and
Oh
the team that
wow.
came in second was that we barely lost in the lower bracket finals. It was a 2-1 loss or 1-2 loss, I guess I should say. Was the team that had just they they just they just came in second place in a best of five in Dream League. So they were just coming off of a loss in Dream League, and we took a game off of them, and we almost won the entire series. We probably don't beat the TI winners because like we were kind of amateurs at the time, but it was just kind of like I got my feet wet in terms of drafting. I got my feet wet in terms of being a player, and I was like, damn, I can actually fucking do this. And so I started going a little bit more hardcore in Dota at that time. But I was like, I'm kind of old for the Dota scene. Like currently 37, and so the the road to becoming a pro player at this kind of age, I
Mm.
don't think there's that much like mechanic. I'm not that slow mechanically compared to other players, but real life takes a toll because I'm a
Yeah.
mechanical engineer. I have a day job. This esports
Hey.
is my passion, and it's what I like to do for fun. And so the fact that I'm able to do it as a side hustle and get paid for it is something I'm eternally grateful to
Yeah,
Shopify for.
preach. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Whatever you said was perfect, on point, and that's the reality. That the reality kicks in, and you unfortunately cannot pursue that thing you might wanna be actually pursuing, but you can leverage that by doing something very close to it. Like in your case, you're basically a analyst for one of the best teams in Dota, so yeah, maybe in a different life, the timing would be better for you and me and a lot of other people when it comes to year when we was born, because hey, maybe we was 17 years old now. We might be playing in next international,
Yeah,
but
you never know.
you never know. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
just a guess. But
yeah.
mhm.
The reason I was able to play at the time was I took a package from my engineering job, and I was doing some other side hustles, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. So I took 2 years off of engineering, and that's when I was able to really push myself to not. Again, I was never going to make tier one pro, I think, but to even be able to touch the some of the better teams that the game in the game at the time, it really opened my eyes. So when I went back to transit to full-time engineering, I don't have enough time to dedicate to become a player. And so I started coaching tier 2 teams, and I was doing a lot of analysis work for myself. I would try to reverse engineer the game, and I took some of that stuff and sent it to my players. One of those players sent it to Bulba, who was the coach of Evil Geniuses at the time, and then Bulba reached out to me, and we started talking. We
Mm.
met at TI in 2018, yeah, and then we started talking on the back end, and I transitioned from being like a tier two ish, tier three probably coach to being an analyst for Evil Geniuses at the time that transitioned into Shopify Rebellion. So
How did you
anyway,
get? How did no? Yeah, but how did you get on Shopify, Evil Genius? If you can lead us to the path, to the day, to the exact hour, minute, second when it's like, hey, you are gonna be part of Shopify right now.
it started off as a kind of a trial basis with Evil Geniuses. I sent them some work, and they really liked what I did. They like just some analysis work in terms of like map and hero abuse and that kind of thing. And then it's just like, all right, what else can you do for us? And then it started growing from there. And it's slowly but surely I became responsible for more and more things. And then it became a thing officially, and then it just kind of exploded from there. That was all first under Evil Geniuses, and then when EG dropped their Dota 2 roster, Shopify picked up the entire Dota 2 roster at the time, and I just kind of went with them. I talked to uh, I had an interview with the Shopify game director, and he liked it. He liked me, and I liked working him. And he's a really famous guy in the StarCraft scene.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
we just kind of went from there. His name is Dario, and he goes by used to be known by as Liquid TLO.
Um. Okay. What was your stepping stone?
What was my?
yeah, like what was your stepping stone? I'm assuming, right, that it is when you did sign with Shopify, right? Or it was Evil Genius first.
It was Evil Geniuses first.
Okay, okay.
The I had a contract with them. And that was like the first time I had an official contract. At first, it was just getting paid a little bit on the side to do work, just with Bulba, the coach.
Yeah,
And then I transitioned to working, like getting an official EG contract, and then and then the EG drops the roster almost immediately after that, and then I got ended up getting picked up by Shopify. So it it kind of just happened slowly, organically over time. But the key to breaking in, if anyone wants to do this themselves, the most important thing is mi- being able to put yourself out there, because it's just as much about what you know as who you know. Being really smart about the game does not make you an analyst. What makes you an analyst is being smart about the game, and then having enough and then being able to socialize with people to be able to sell yourself as essentially a product and say, hey, this is what I can offer. You become friends with the guys, and then they want to work with you. It's like anything else in life. It's just as much about
exactly.
who
Exactly.
you know as what you know.
I was
And
about
that
to
goes,
say.
go ahead.
No, no, exactly. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just about to say it's exactly anything and everything in life. And some of it also is part of luck. That is also part of networking because you end up, at the right
You need
time,
to meet
right?
the right people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
I-
go
The
ahead.
the thing is like a lot of people look at it as luck, and the problem with looking at it as luck is the reality is you do have to get lucky, but you control your own luck in a way. Um, if you were to if you were to like say, I want to do this for a living, the grind and the amount of disappointment you'd get every time you'd get rejected, you would quit first. But if it's what you're passionate about and the passion comes first, then it becomes a lot easier, because then people see that passion in you, and by seeing that passion, that's what people latch onto. They see the passion, they and like you use that as your stepping stone. You love what you do, and you people see it, and then you can essentially leverage that to be to get to kind of do whatever you want in the world. And this doesn't just apply to Dota, it applies to everything else. If you like something, you can make a career out of it. Full stop. Like, it is not that hard to make money. Like, one of the skills they don't teach you is they don't teach you in school how to be an entrepreneur, how to make money, how
Yeah,
to lead a business, but it's really not that hard. And if you're willing to put in the work with people, if you're willing to put in the work with yourself, if you're not afraid of failure, you can do a lot. You just have to be not afraid to fail. And if you're doing it not because you're trying to do it for a living, but you're doing it because you love it, it becomes that much easier, because then it's not really work. It is it's your passion, right?
yeah.
And so for me, it was my passion that I slowly turned into a essentially a I don't want to say a career, because it's not like, I do still have a day job, but I love my day job as well. So for me, both of them supplement each other, and it's like no matter what happens, I'm happy.
I see. I completely see that. And I can also relate to it in some ways. Um, um, you did say we're talking about a little bit about luck, right? And obviously hard work. and what it takes to actually become a pro player. But can you go more into details and um, maybe let us know what it actually takes to become a pro player, or how um, what does it take to break into esports in general these days, basically?
Sure, sure. So I work with a lot of players that are breaking into the scene, and I try to I try to scout players all the time when it comes to Dota. So I can say it's a couple of things. First of all, you need to have the skill, and to have the skill, you need to be able to be humble enough to say, "I am not that good
Yeah,
right now," and you should always have the view that you're not good enough. Because if you have the view that you're the best, it is very, very, very easy to get lazy. However, if you have the right work ethic and you can sit down and say, all right, this is what I can do better next time, you can improve day by day. Because there's a I work with a sports psychologist named Landon. He's known as Vertex Psych in the esports scene. And what he always says is this, like learning anything, it's not about being the best immediately, it's not about being the best quickly, it's about continual improvement. Because
yeah,
there's going to be times where you're gonna falter, you're gonna fail, but that's okay, as long as you're learning something. And that learning can be individual, it can be mental, it can be gameplay related, and it's just about taking things one step at a time. Because if you say, oh, you need to do 100 different things to be a professional esports player, that it's going to be you're going to want to quit because there's too much. It's going to feel like too much. But if you just take it and break it down and do one thing at a time, that's how you're going to be the best in the world. That's how you're going to get to be the best in the world. And then the only thing past that is, yeah, you need a little bit of luck, but a great way to create your own luck is by making relationships. Understand as well that people don't want to work with people that they don't know. So no like put being able to put yourself out there, build a good build yourself a good, oh, what's the correct word? Like
um,
like you have a reputation. You have a
yeah,
reputation,
that's a
and
good word.
your reputation, like it follows you. Like if you're an asshole in a game and like you start raging and you're an angry gamer, that's how you're going to get known. And somebody's going to be you're going to be somebody else is going to be some pro is going to be on a call with you, like with another player, and they're going to be watching your games, and they'll be like, hey, what do you think of this guy? And you want them to say, this guy's nice, this guy's good, this guy is the like funny to play with. Well, you do but if they say this guy's a rager, this guy's angry, what's going to end up happening is reputation is going to follow you. And so that anger, that reputation uh for being that is going to follow you for the rest of your rest of your career. And a lot of times people don't only give people one chance. First impressions are worth
Yep.
100 times what everything else is, and you never know when you're in a pub with somebody who could make or break your career.
Yep, it's like, again, everything in life. Same with the honestly, same with the video games. Bad first impression, I mean, a flop. That's how it is, at least with the nowadays games, with all these early access games and whatsoever, you know. But yeah, just mention it as a comparison. But yeah, whatever
Yeah,
you,
I know.
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, no.
No, you go ahead. You're the guest, my friend.
All I was gonna say is I've had seen so many people who had the skill to be GoPro in Dota who essentially ruined their career because they wouldn't work on themselves mentally. Like they had the skill, they had the hands, they were top 100 players, but they had a bad reputation, and even some of them fixed their reputation over time. Like they started playing when they were young. They built a reputation, and then it just that reputation essentially followed them. And now teams don't really want to touch them. They're good players. They're dedicating a huge amount of time to the game, but again, that's not good enough, because the reality is there's hundreds of players, like 100 of the best players in the world. You get to choose who's going to be on your team. Are you going to choose somebody who has a reputation for being a jackass, or the reputation for a guy who you want to work with? Because being a pro in esports is not playing the game at home by yourself. Being a pro in esports is playing on a team, especially when it comes to MOBAs or
Yeah,
Counter Strike,
team-based esports. You're 100%.
team-based esports.
You have to have communication skills. And again, before you finish, please don't lose your thought. But a good example, do you follow CS, Counter-Strike?
I I follow it very loosely.
Okay,
I
but
watch it. I do not follow the scene.
okay, that's more than enough. Do you know Simple? Have you heard about this
Yeah.
person?
Oh yeah.
Prime example of exactly what you just described. He's so skilled and talented, but all the feedback from his teammates, ex-teammates, is pretty much negative about his individual personality, which becomes an issue to actually become a teammate with him because yet again, as we discussed, when it comes to esports, team-based games, communication is a must-have skill. And if you don't know how to
Yeah.
communicate or even take criticism, then unfortunately it is not a happy ending in long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because I see these guys have potential. In some cases I'll even like reach out and try to help them out individually, because I want to see them succeed. Because to me it's like, if you can help somebody see, hey, people think you're good, but you have this reputation, and so people are just scared to touch you. It's like, if you have three options and they're all top 100, which share are you going to pick? Are you going to pick the guy who has a reputation for being a jackass? Maybe if he's rank one. Like that's the caveat. It's like, at some point skill does matter, but it's way easier to just it's easier to be like, to fix the small stuff than be rank one, because being rank one, like setting that as your goal, you're just setting yourself up again for failure, because everyone else is also working, and it's about and nobody maintains rank one forever,
There's
from a patch to
yeah, team player. There's never gonna be always number one. Someone's gonna end that spectacular run, but yeah, there's always someone better. There's always someone younger, a new talent popping out.
yeah.
Again, it's a team-based game. It does not have to be only about you know about individual skill. It can also be simply something like um, having a better coach, better analyst, just teammates in general. The synergy. Communication, like we discussed. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
yeah.
that's a good way to put it. It's like, it really matters. And that, like, recently there's a friend of mine, just like, he had the opportunity. He was good enough to be the stand-in for one of the best teams in the world recently. Like, he had
Mhm.
the skill, but
Yep.
a person worse than him was chosen because the team knew that person.
The
And that player who
personality.
had, yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they, they they not just the personality, but they knew the player because they did the work and did this of like, hey, I'm so and so, and then you just chat for like 10-15 minutes, you know what I mean? You
Okay.
add people, you chat, you talk, because if being on a in a competitive team esport, you're going to spend essentially 8 to 10 hours a day cooped up with the same with the same people.
Yes.
And even if your reputation is good outside the game or inside the game, and you have made those good first impressions, that's still not enough. You need to do the socializing work. You need to sell yourself. You need to build the relationships with the idea with everyone, but most importantly with the people that have influence. Because the reality is this guy wasn't going to tournaments that he didn't qualify for, even when they were local. And if he did, they and he introduced himself to this coach, I all but guarantee he would have played for one of the best teams in the world, and that would have broken let his career break out. And yeah, that's never not always going to happen, but it's about doing things one step at a time. And the first thing you got to do is you got to get on the team. And if people like you, they're going to say, "Hey, do you want to team with me?" And that's started. That's how my competitive esports career. I know a lot of other people that had the same thing happen.
I mean, we're
It's just
talking.
like,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, no, just to kind of to add to your you know um, information. We're talking about boot camps. We're talking about gaming houses. We're talking about literally living with more than potentially other four people, because like I said, there's managers, coaches, analysts, right?
Yeah,
Even dietitians or your cooks. If we're talking about the top esports level, like League of Legends, uh, whatever,
yeah,
T1 for example, they actually have their own private chefs.
yeah.
So
There's
uh,
a one team in Dota that brings their chef everywhere they go as well. So it's not one thing. It's definitely a whole thing.
it's a whole system, and
Hmm.
again, it starts from healthy body, healthy mind, with all the hours and hard work put in, and so on and so on. We can talk about this day and night,
Totally.
and at the end of the day, like I've discussed in previous episodes, esports at the moment is easily comparable to real sports, and I don't think it is. I don't think it's unfair to Oh, um, I think it's fair to compare it with real sports, because at the end of the day, it's the same thing. You have players, coaches, whatever, dietitians. You have spectators. You have people that set up stage. You have analysts, hosts,
Yeah.
uh, everything. It's a, it's a, it's a beautiful thing. Um, is there anything else you wanted to add? I think I did might have interrupted you there.
Um.
I,
The
I was adding. We was talking about the same topic, but I added
no, no,
eventually
no.
about the gaming houses and yeah.
Yeah, it's very very true. It's why I emphasize like if you have a bad reputation, if you don't do the networking, like people are more likely to want to live with somebody that they've talked to, right? Like if you've ever gone on vacation with your friends, like the type of person you want to go on vacation with, that's the type of person you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to when you get the opportunities to talk to pro players, pro coaches, influencers in the scene, like the most important thing, be chill and and just be a guy that you can talk to. Like just literally talk about anything. And just be like because that's the type of person that you want to have around because at the end of the day when you're not playing Dota with the rest of your team, people are going to want to talk to each other, hang out. But you don't need to all be best friends. Like a lot of teams are not necessarily a lot of people are not necessarily friends with each other, but you need to be amiable. You need to live with each other without driving everyone insane.
Yeah.
And so,
Uh,
yeah,
a good comparison is like an office work, for example, right? Because you end up doing the 9 to 5 or whatever, and you end up seeing them more often than more
yeah,
often than your family or your closest friends. And again, that's the reality of it. The same comes to professional esports. You end up living with people, with your teammates, and you end up spending so much more time with them than your family and friends, like I mentioned. So it's
yeah. It
it's
becomes a second family in a way.
yeah,
Uh,
and it has to, because the other team that feels that way, that has those vibes or whatever you want to call, and if the skill level is close on a good day, they're gonna just perform better because they just feel better as a team. And again, even though these sound like small things, but um, they're not. They are.
no,
They're very
it takes a
important.
it takes a lot of work, and it's an aspect of the game that people don't see because teams don't share that, and that they don't share it because it's some big secret. They don't. They they don't share it because it's like this is their lives, right? Like what is like imagine what it is to be day to day. Like a lot of people are like, I want to be a pro Dota player. What does that mean? Just to use Dota as an example, that means that my day to day is playing probably 8 to 12 hours a day, probably minimum 6 pubs, 5, 6 pubs, and then you're probably going to watch maybe 5, 6 replays on top of that, and then you're going to talk about Dota with your team for another couple hours, and then like what else? Okay, you're also going to be traveling consistently, assuming you are a top team. You need to be comfortable living not at home, because if you're living at home, then then you're not qualifying for the big tournaments. And at the end of the day, the goal should always be to make it to the big tournaments, right? Like that's what everyone wants to do. Everyone wants to win the TIs of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Um, that is exactly how it is, and there's a lot of them, a lot of us, a lot of gamers that try to achieve these big goals. Um, I do have one final question, pretty much.
Sure.
It's a broad one. Um, Feel free to answer any way you wish. But what are your expectations and goals in your near future or long term of video games or esports specifically? So again, what are your expectation and goals in near future?
My goal is I want to be the best I can possibly be at my job. I want to be like if I could be the best analyst in the world, I that means I need to understand the game well. I need to play at a reasonable skill level, and I want to be able to be able to talk to the players in a way that like they understand, because people like when you talk to people, like you want to be respected, you don't want to be laughed at, right? Like if you don't know what you're talking about, people will catch on to that quick. If you're not confident, people will catch on to that quick. And I think I've done a lot of that fairly well within my own personal career and growth. But what I would like to do is I would like to say, all right, how do I take my team to the next level? What can I do for them that is that has not been done before, or that can help them perform at another level? And whatever that is, it's essentially my job to help them with that. And that's the way I look at it, because as a support staff for a team, the players are first. I like my ego doesn't matter. The way the like if I am famous or not, that doesn't matter. What matters is, are my players feeling good? Because when they feel good, they're going to perform at their best. And then how do I individually help them with each of their performances? And then try to help them with that to the best of my ability, and just go from there. So like my goal ideally would be able to win TI. That'd be nice. But realistically, based on our performance of our team lately, because it hasn't been that great, my goal is just to help the team reach the next level, right? Consistently hit top 8 would be a very realistic near-term goal, and then figuring out what it takes within our team structure to help us get there. And whatever that is, I'm willing to help do it.
Okay,
So,
that was a great answer. I wish you
yeah.
the best luck when it comes to obviously any achievements, results, tournaments, and specifically TI would be only only a pleasant surprise to see you, and your team perform at at the international, which, let's be real, is the biggest and will be uh, till this day when it comes to,
Money in esports,
yeah,
it's
money
one
in
of the bigger.
esports, yeah, straight up,
Yeah.
that's how it is. Um, do you have is there something you're working on now with your team, or something you're working in your private life when it comes to esports or Dota, or you guys maybe focusing on a specific tournament right now?
We are the next big tournament for us is going to be Dream League. That if we, I think we need to beat Avalis, or there's one other, I believe, Heroic. Those two teams are slightly above us in the EPL
Mm,
points, which is a Dota 2 tour. we are currently in 10th place. If we place one position above them and make top 8 or better in Dream League, we will qualify for the Riyadh tournament, which is another $4 million. And so that's the near term goal of what we're working on. And in terms of what like trying to help the team with is I'm trying to help the team with optimizing communication within the game. So what is being said, what people are talking about, trying to help everyone be on the same page, because if everyone's talking together, and it's just as much about what you're not saying as what you're saying, to make everyone perform at their best, and so everyone understands and is working to the same goals within the game.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And what about your expectations maybe of Dota and esports? If you have any, if you have actually, if you have thought about it, or you
My
just go with the flow and you don't really, because a lot of people nowadays live with no expectations because the world is crazy, the times are crazy, and sometimes it's better not to have any expectations. So I'm just,
Sure,
yeah,
I don't have expectations per se. I just want like I feel grateful to be in my position, because I know a lot of people would not like it. A lot of people don't get the opportunities that I've gotten, so I am grateful for that, and I just try to make the most of it day by day. And whether it works out or whether I get fired in the next month or
mm,
whatever happens, like I'm just happy that I had the opportunity that I did, and then I'm just gonna see where things go from there. Like as for Dota as a whole, I think that the game is great. Like I honestly really
yeah,
enjoy playing it. I think that there's a lot of people that enjoy playing it, and if as long as there's still a scene in Dota, I'm going to do my best to become part of it if I can. And yeah, like I just want to be part of it. I don't need to make money, that much money. The money part is not that important for me. I do it because I'm passionate about it. And it, esports isn't as well. It's so fun to be part of the scene. It's really hard to understate how much I like value this in a day to day, because
if I can
it
interrupt you again, I think because you're getting smarter and wiser by age, even though it sounds stereotypical, but you appreciate things. You do understand it's one of a kind. It's not anymore, oh, I'm playing games and making money. It's actually, I'm doing this. It feels like a purposeful thing in my life that I felt like I was meant to do, even if it's this type of thing. Again, I'm just guessing. Maybe I'm going off my personal feelings, but that's how I see it. And for you, it is something, very, very important. And again, it's every kid's dream, almost every kid's dream, and you are living it in some way or another, right?
yeah. If somebody told me this is what you'd be doing it for a living when I was a 12-year-old kid playing Age of Empires 2 or Diablo back in the day, I would have said you're full of it. I wouldn't believe them.
Yes.
So
Same goes
yeah,
back to our parents or friends, whoever did support or did not support. My parents, when I told them the same old story that I have to sign a contract with Virtus.pro to go to China, Shenzhen, to to participate in IEM Shenzhen for the first Heroes of the Storm tournament, and I'm gonna quit university that I have a bad exam for a bachelor's degree 1 month prior. And I mean, obviously, they thought I was joking and they didn't take me serious because, well, again, we're going back to what you said and I said is that this was years ago. When I started competing in esports, it was like not the best times, but also not the fresh start. So there was already some money, but still,
yeah,
it was very stereotypical, and yeah, basically same old story with like this is not real, etc. And yeah, um, but yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's a whole thing. I think the scene like I think esports as a whole, I think it's only going to grow. I think a lot of the developers of recent games have been angling their games away from esports because it's just you don't make as much money in esports as you do doing some other things like microtransactions is how you make money. Developing a game for esports, the last game that was developed like that is probably Valorant. Most games are not developed with esports in mind, or it's not their first priority anyway.
Yeah.
So it ends up being it ends up being like something that happens by accident in some cases, and then you'll usually get like a small esports scene that will live like for sometimes it'll be like a year or 2 years, but like just finding those games that you're like, all right, this is what I'm passionate about. Because if the passion comes first, you're never gonna guess what game is gonna go like is gonna go be the next big esport. Everyone says, oh, this is gonna be the next big esport, and
Yeah.
people are wrong way more often than they're right. But you just have to start somewhere and just guess, and you just like, I am passionate about this, and if you're passionate about it, you're going to work hard at it, and you're going to be the best. And if it happens to align with it, like there's other roads too. You could become a streamer. You could use like
Yes.
being competitive in the short term at a game, being the best at a game, drive audience. Like even if the game doesn't last for a long time, don't chase it because of money. Do it because you love it. And if you love it, people will see that. You'll you'll be the guest at some best at some game that maybe only lasts like a year or two, but that's fine because if you can start streaming with that, now you grow a player base. Now you play a new game, that player base and viewership follows you. You've now built a scene and you built a following, and that's happened to so many people.
Yeah. And
And
go ahead.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to even there's few examples honestly where a lot of pro players do go and become honestly a content creator
Yeah,
because it just makes more sense. It's more safe. The income is potentially more stable in some ways because if you don't win tournament after if you lose tournament after tournament and end up being top 8 not top 3 where it usually is the money, then the salary might not be enough again depending on the game and on the organization.
totally.
um but but yeah, that's a very very good point because esports is about nowadays about a lot of opportunities, like we once again compared it to the real sports industry. You can become much more in some ways than just a player, even though becoming a pro player is it can be the most paid position in the gaming industry. However, there are some exceptions with again the content creators and live streamers where they do make more money than the pro players.
But
Like,
usually most of the big pro player streamers or content creator streamers like your Shrouds, your XQCs,
yeah, exactly.
they all started
As pros.
like as pros. But it usually in a game where like in the XQC's case, Overwatch,
Yep.
the game pretty much doesn't have a competitive scene anymore.
Yep.
Uh the but it's just like you get your start there, and then the audiences follow you to the new games, and the passion started with Overwatch. Now he's a variety streamer, but he used that short-term competitive scene to essentially jump his career, and then now he's an entertainer.
Yep.
The point
Exactly.
is like you just you start it because you love it, and you need to then just do all the right things and I know that's again sounds like a cop out, but talk to the right people, be nice, don't be a jackass, and like put in the work. Put in the work. Don't and if you fail, if you're doing it because you love it, nobody will care. Because like you won't care if you fail because you're still doing what you love. If you're
Yeah.
doing it because it's work, then you've lost the passion, and it's going to be hard,
Yeah. I agree.
and you're going to
Yeah,
burn yourself out.
yeah, you need to understand you're taking a risk, and there's a lot of competition. But becoming a
Totally.
pro player is a very good entry for you to become a successful person, personality, whatever you want to call in the esports scene. I am not a
Absolutely.
good example. I was doing good when I played HOTS. I had 400 viewers when I streamed HOTS. This and that. But when the game died, it probably was my own fault. I did not look for more opportunities. I took a break. But again, there are very good examples where becoming a pro gives you a lot of real opportunities after your game, like a player career, you know.
Totally.
Or if you get burned out, like you mentioned, that's another thing that people don't realize, that you end up playing three blocks of scrims every day for 10 hours, and then you have to play 4 more hours solo queue, and then you have to WOD review 2 more hours, and then you forget you had to eat, and then you go sleep
Yeah.
for 4 hours, you know.
And
I'm
you do
t-
it all over again.
yes, rinse and repeat. Derek, you've been amazing. I really appreciate you. Our time is up with you for today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, your wisdom and knowledge was impeccable, man. Thank you so much for all the insights and information provided. But before you leave, feel free to give a shout out. Feel free to, you already said what you're kind of working on or what your goals are, but I know you might not have actually the social media right now, so whatever you want to say, go ahead. The stage is yours.
I'm just gonna thank Shopify. In terms of orgs, they've been one of the best orgs that I've ever worked with. Um, there's a lot of good orgs and bad orgs that it's not something we really talked about in the context of our conversation today. But I want to thank you them for the opportunity that they have given me to help me explore my passion. Shout out to the coach I work with as well, Bulba. He is uh, he is the guy that got me into the pro scene, and I'll be forever grateful for him. And if you guys ever want to reach out, you could probably, if you're in the Dota scene, you'll probably know somebody who knows me in the North American scene, and yeah, just ask them for my contact, and we can get in touch and go from there.
Perfect. Thank you once again, man, and talk to you soon. And wish
Perfect.
you the best luck and success in the near and the future tournaments. I believe in you.
Yeah,
As I've done before, and I still do. I keep an eye. I see that you're in those Dota lobbies. Okay, so wish you the best luck, man. Take care.
you too, man. Until next time. Bye now.
Bye.